Bing, 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 bing. It's Sam and Brent, and it is the Martin Fowler Scrum, and it is a Wednesday. And Brent, how are things in your part of the world?
Yeah, so I didn't get huge amounts done yesterday because some issues at work propped up. I did manage though last night to add some test or add a test. Well, I'll take that back. I changed existing tests
Oh yeah.
in local support so that
Ah.
when they created a success flash,
Hmm.
as well as checking for the contents of the flash message,
Hmm.
it now also expects there to be a alert dash success class as well.
Hmm. Hmm. Good show.
Yeah, so that's really all I did yesterday. The plan for today is to spend a bit more time in the new Agile MOOC course.
Hmm. Hmm.
And also, if I get chance, I want to start to, well, I say start, continue to look through the local support tickets ready for the meeting tomorrow.
Hmm.
I've made some notes already on a few of them for the conversation tomorrow,
Hmm.
but I'll try and get some more stuff done as well.
Yes. 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 Good show. Yes. And right. So local support. Yes. And like we talked about an hour and a half earlier, and so that would be at 2 o'clock GMT. Yes.
Yeah, so that works fine for me. In fact, in most cases, the earlier in the day these things are, the better,
Mm.
because I start to struggle as the day goes on. So.
Yes. Good. Oh, well, thank you very much for mentioning that. That's I'm sort of racking up some different schedules for tomorrow, and that yes, I've got. I think I've blocked my entire day with no lunch, so
Right.
work on that. Oh, good show. Good show. Well, that all sounds great. And so nothing particularly blocking you at this time.
No. I've still got those local issues, local support environment issues, but
Mm. As you
yeah,
say, you wanted to step away from those for a bit, which I think is
yeah,
eminently sensible.
yeah. I mean, it didn't stop me testing what I needed to do yesterday, so at least I could make some progress. But yeah, I think probably next week, once I'm back from my break, I might start to look at that and look at those other tickets that were linked, I guess, in some way.
Mm.
I'm not that. I don't really do much in Node, so I'm not that familiar with
Mm.
it. I only really take other people's code and look at it and change it, and
Mm.
so I might have to look at that and see if there's a better way of, like you say, we force into the environment to use a newer version of Node. Or
Yeah, and I think there's things there like I was thinking about this overnight that I'm not sure that Capybara under the hood is necessarily using the node runtime that we specify. I mean, it might be. I mean, it's got Phantom JS is the JavaScript engine for that, and um, it's possible to have a different Phantom JS engine installed. And it occurs to me that one of the reasons that we're seeing erratic behavior on your system, I think what we're in these situations where we're manipulating the version of Node, right? And we think that that's having a change, but I think we're also seeing erratic behavior. Do you know what I mean? Where even when
yeah,
the version of Node is fixed, there's it's not always giving us the same output.
yeah, I think you're right. I think it. I think there is something linked to Node in that we need to get to the bottom of that. But I
Mm.
think, like you say, that the tests are, they're not actually using Node. All they're using is, it's like I do a lot of work with Selenium WebDriver
Right, right.
and Phantom JS,
Yes.
and obviously all that's happening there is it's executing that remote JavaScript
Mm.
using the Phantom JS's
Right.
engine or the Google Chrome's engine, whichever driver you're using.
Totally.
So I think you're right. It's not related to Node directly.
Yeah, yeah. And as I say, there might be like an indirect effect. And we introduced at one point, this is website one on log support, the Phantom JS gem as a way of sort of locking that down. And I guess what I'm wondering is it might be a timing issue on your machine that it's affected by. Anyway, I think it's eminently sensible to put it to the side. We've got the tests passing on the the CI. So it's
Yeah,
not ideal, but we can probably manage it for the time being.
I think I'm going to reboot my laptop as well, because I never reboot it. So I am going to do that, I think, probably later today. That might even fix it. I don't know.
We'll see. Good show. Yes, it always reminds me of like programming in PHP back in the day. And like when the thing just started to go completely crazy, I was like, okay, that's insane. It's time for a coffee break and reboot the computer and come back to it later. Sometimes the insane is in my mind. Sometimes it is actually in the just strange behavior. I've gone all green for some reason. I'm not sure why that.
You have, yes.
There we go. It's I'm a very eco-friendly individual. So that's obviously Google's, they're adapting now to the vibes they're getting off people. Let's do my update, which is that so far this morning I've handed off getting the stickers sent out. So hopefully they're going to be sent out this week. I've made that clear to the person I'm working with on that. I have say a bit of a headache. Not really. I feel like I'm moving through a fog. I have started. I've put together a new campaign, or I'm back in color now. A new campaign for Google AdWords to specifically promote the free mob programming sessions that we offer. I feel like I just want to get that out there, and I might not be the most wonderful person at sort of organizing things exactly, but I think that's if I have one special skill, it's like, right, sometimes we just need to do this and make it happen. So
yeah,
I'm hoping we'll get that. It may be that we can't actually handle, hundreds of people coming in and asking us for free mob programming sessions, but I think we just do need to bring more people in through that and improve that flow and that route. So that's that. I guess I did have some success on the autograders last night, fixing, putting a new branch out, which seems to have alleviated the problem. Although there's still, that needs like weeks of work really to make it all good. That's a whole separate story. If you're interested, we can talk about that separately. But what else is going on? Yesterday it was autograders. What was it? Tuesday yesterday. Yeah, NHS Wiki. Yeah, I ended up manually updating the HTTPS for the NHS Wiki, and I've kind of I think it's a little it's too sticky, that problem. I think like the one that you've got with the node for local support. I'm just going to not address trying to make it auto update, because it's kind of like, now that I've got the my own little script of like how to do it, basically takes 3 minutes. I'm gonna have to do it, like 5 times over 10 times over the course of the next 2 years. It's I can't really afford to spend 3-4 X how many hours to remove that time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I then, instead of burning time on that, I got on with setting up on the staging server so that we can embed videos in the media wiki, which is the next priority from the NHS. So it's very pleasing to make that progress. So that's good. The rest of the day, that's pretty much my update. The block is my headache, which is, I'm going to take some ibuprofen. What else is happening today? It's Wednesday. We've got the Elixir mob coming up. I'm also planning on pairing with Paolo on Async Voter later on, and we've got the Async Voter meeting coming up. That's the size of things.
Cool.
Good stuff. Well, I think that's our Scrum. I guess I was just, if you have a moment, I was just going to look at this PR with you, the one that you've done for local support. And
yes,
it was just, obviously we didn't want to spend too long on it, but you made a very interesting point, I thought, about in general not testing for CSS. And I was kind of like, it's definitely a borderline case. You've now added that in, I guess you're saying people have pushed you away from checking for CSS styles in the past.
Yeah, I guess it's mainly because the projects that I've worked on have the interface changes so often. And the way that is done is by a separate team, generally, right. UI team. So, we tend not to get sight of what their changes are. But we have their code base. So for when we do testing and things. So it's just something that we've sort of stayed clear of. And I've read a couple of books, and I can't remember off the top of my head what those books were, but and they sort of, they were PHP related books, but they sort of gave the same advice, is that you know, unless absolutely necessary, you shouldn't really be checking. But what I'm doing in this isn't really checking the CSS.
No.
So I guess it's okay.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm thinking. I think you're generally right. I think that if your tests are too tightly tied to the way, you know, like this should be in 10 pixel and this should be black and so on.
Yeah.
That's clearly asking for trouble. And I mean, it's an interesting thing. Then we've got here that I think you found that it was the way it's looking for the message is expecting to have something with the ID flash success. And you've just modified that to include the class as well. And I think that's kind of about the right level, particularly for this project where it's not so hugely active. It's and it's, I guess the interesting thing there is, so the alert success then is presumably that's like somewhere in local support we've got like a
there's a helper actually that people are using that generates. In fact, the helper is the file above.
Yes.
Yeah.
And over here, and it's working out the flash type. And so it's what we've got here is that it's sort of checking the logic.
Yes.
Rather than necessarily the specific styles. The danger is someone comes along and says, right, I want to change, like the designer working as a separate team says, okay, alert success, that's totally wrong. Let's change it to a different name.
Yes. We'll pick that up if they do that. Yeah,
that's right. And we've got this going on here in the code in a helper rather than just a random style that's been applied in the thing. So yeah, I think that's a good compromise position there. I think that's definitely ready to get that checked in.
The failure is nothing to.
Go on.
And I'm actually not getting that failure on mine, even though I am getting failures. I'm getting different failures locally.
Indeed. Sure.
And I'm not sure. Why that did fail. It was something to do with logging in, I believe. Yeah.
That looks like that's just a kind of local timing issue there. I'm just going to restart the build on that, and that looks like a Travis brownout from my point of view. Yeah.
Can I restart builds then?
I would love you to be able to, and I think I just enabled Sigu to do it. I think I probably have to add you to an extra team.
Oh, okay.
In order to do so, but I would be very, very happy to do that. I think you might be able to already, actually.
Well, I did look last night and I couldn't see the option.
If you didn't see the button, then very possibly. But we have the local support team, and you're in the local support team there, and I think that should, in principle, give you admin on local support. So, I mean, if you go to this, if you go to the PR, and click through on the build and maybe share your screen with me. I mean, maybe there's something you need to authenticate with Travis as well.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just check. Right. Let me just share my screen. Oh, why isn't the oh, that's why. There we go.
Interesting. So maybe click sign in with GitHub at the top there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I missed that big green button.
It's the funny thing is that these. I mean, I think it's the perennial pain for all of everybody working on. It's almost like you kind of, once you know where something is or what to look for, it's easy to find it. I think it's very difficult to design interfaces that are like totally intuitive.
Yeah,
it's just. I mean, I think that's the sort of trickiest thing. Everybody's so busy saying like we want to learn, how to code better, which is, I mean, it's a wonderful objective. At the same time, I think designing interfaces is possibly one of the hardest things.
I agree.
So while that's running there, I was just reflecting that we've got we've got a new person has been posting some things, some PRs. There was also, I guess we've got this volunteer update. Was this? I was just noticing another PR for you that I perhaps hadn't seen already. That looks like a. Oh, it's just.
Yeah, so it was one of the tickets where the text on a button was not what the client wanted.
Right. Yes. Oh, that's great. And apologies for missing that one. I guess it also has kind of like a build phone. I think is it for the same silly something or other. Yeah. So well, that would be a good one actually for you to. So it's still thinking about you.
Still thinking, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I will restart the build on that one because that just looks good and one that should sensibly get merged in. There's one fixed issue there. Yep. Yeah, that looks great. I shall just thumbs that up. Wonderful. Just, I guess it would be. Do you want to refresh that? Yeah. Does it say refresh to check? But since I thought we would just. Are you familiar with Rubicop in general?
I know what it is, but I can't say I'm familiar with it. I know that it sort of enforces styles, etc.
Yes.
But that's really as much as I know.
Yes. What we've got here is we've got a new person who I think just gone through the install process, and they've run Rubicop locally, and he's pointed, or she has pointed out here, like there's sort of maybe some changes that we need. I don't know, like Rubicop, goes through different versions. We've basically got this pull request here. There's some, I personally do prefer single quotes to double quotes. There's a change there from, we've got like these are all sort of changes that I think that I would approve. It's a sort of difficult thing. I'm kind of like a bit of a stickler for like, if this pull request is Rubicop changes following new standards, I'd like to have just that and have that separate from this other change. Although the other change, I mean, it's this funny thing. Like, particularly, we've got a new person coming in. If we're real sticklers for like this, that, and the other, they're like, no, I don't want to join in with them. So it's kind of like you're under this pressure of like, right, you've got to be like all relaxed and happy and kind of friendly and so on. Yeah, well, you've got them in as two separate commits there. There is this sort of danger with if you're changing a test. Like, there's always the danger that you accidentally turn it into a vacuous test, or it may still be passing, but now for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
I guess we've also got resolve conflicts there. Ooh.
Yeah, it looks like I have got the build button now. Although
have you?
Yeah, so I think that's done it. Thank you.
Oh, excellent. Okay, good show. Yes, well, that's good to do. It's got another. Okay, this person's got another. Oh, look, they're actually fixing one of our code climate issues. That's great. Yeah. Oh, well, that looks like a really nice. This one here looks like a nice pull request. So I'm always trying to encourage everybody to review each other's pull requests. I think it's great to do have particularly if you're not so familiar with Rubicop, which is a style guide. Well, we have this. I tend not to run it locally because Code Climate uses it, and it runs it on our pull requests. I'm sure you've seen Code Climate commenting.
Yes. Yeah.
On the pull requests. What is it? The area for potential confusion is just that Code Climate doesn't always respect what you have in your Rubicop.yaml and does other strange things. So, but this is looking like great positive contributions from a new person. Okay, well, I think that's our Scrum. Unless there's anything else that you wanted to chat about.
Nope, can't think of anything.
Good show. All right. Yeah, lovely to catch up with you, Brent. And I guess I'll see you later on.
Yeah, what time's the async? Is that's 3:30, is it?
I think it is now that we're in this strange UTC world. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully I will join the async voter meeting.
Great stuff. All right, maybe see you there.
Yep, speak to you later. Cheers. Thanks. Bye.